Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, it's Regit and welcome back to the final Stories of Legend subchapter. An update 7.0 introduced, of course we have had. The legend ends. Now I'm pausing in the middle of my sentences. Not for dramatic effect, although for purposes of your amazement, that's exactly why I'm doing it. It's actually because for some reason, I've completely forgotten how to start a video. So, over the course of update videos, as you probably know, I've been making my way through this subchapter, and in what I've calculated using my insanely proficient math skills, is that I've spent about 50 video minutes, known as real time, spelt with 2 E's, in doing these 3 levels here. And little media lesson for you all, as you probably suspect, videos, like all media, are constructed, selected and mediated. It's not going to be my whole recording in one video, otherwise there'd be lots of gaps between the things that I say, much like at the start of my little speech here. So the actual time to do just 3 out of 8 levels in the subchapter has been very long, but I'm not going to give up just because of that. I'm going to continue doing this all by myself. It just means that we do need to pragmatically get ourselves a move on. And so today, we're going to be wasting only a little bit of time before heading into a moment of serenity, which I've heard from Bucas the 98th shouldn't be quite as difficult as Glory of Glories, because I don't like zombie levels, I really struggled with them, and I'm really glad that I eventually managed to do it. And the comment that made me happiest on that video was, you know, this is a really interesting strat. It's actually so wacky, I want to try it myself. And, you know, when I do a level, it sometimes ends up being a bit like the guide, but a badly rehashed version of it. But I guess this was something completely different, in a different way to how you're quote-unquote supposed to do it. But I got it done, and I'm glad it looked interesting in that way. And people who thought I should have skipped ahead to when I do it really don't understand the point of these videos. Without further ado, slot 3, a moment of serenity. Let's attack, and into the battle we go. Still greeted by the rabbit from the Pokepan collab. What's great about it, I didn't even realise before, but there are missions attached to it. In the stream I was collecting some cat food from it. You get loads! I mean, imagine the cat food from the missions combined with the cat food for just generally completing little sections of these levels. Gets you a lot of cat food, so although it isn't incredibly expansive, it's good for gathering the cat food. So at the start of this level, we have been greeted by Mr. Angels. That's fine, because in our combined slot of many different things, we have Jizo, who even by itself, with no meat shielding, is only really being weakened and not killed. But now we've killed them, and we'll be on to the base. What is going to greet us out of the moment of Serenity's base? It's a Borafim, a Junfish Stones, and a couple more Mr. Angels. Do I really have anything for that? I do not know. So, this is obviously not going to work entirely well. Oh, okay. That was a bit wacky, wasn't it? Lightning struck upon the Borafim, but nah, the Borafim doesn't care. We just got decimated. It didn't freeze. Same strat as before. Obviously, probably not going to give us a win, seeming there was a winged Page there, which you need to do sort of probably outranging with. Jizo's moving castle will serve us a lot better for that instead of Jizo because of the outranging. But the very least that I'm going to try and do is stall these at the start, just so I can have a little bit longer fighting the rest of the battle to give myself a better idea as to how I'm going to beat it when we change our strat. Because energy is precious, it's cost us about 180 and it's a lot. And I hope I haven't binned this. We've only got 1 Jizo out, so we should be fine to be able to be pushed back. But unfortunately, I have in fact binned it. We're too powerful, you see. My Jizo is just too good. I mean, it's not even fully hypermaxed. That is how much of a pro player I must be. I'm transcending my Jizo's own levels because I am that good. Different tack this time then. I'm literally just going to meat shield. Maybe a little bit of Manic Macho legs as well. But we're just going to stay like this. Upgrade the worker cat because Jizo, I mean, understandably deals with Mr. Angels very well, but we don't really want that. We want to get our worker cat up to the max so that we can deal as best we can with the wave that comes out afterwards. Even Manic Macho legs is doing really well against them. I mean, maybe they're just very deliberately weak. Maybe I'm just boosted. We're going to let it kill Manic Macho legs there and just start again with Cameraman, interestingly. Even though, you know, anti-floating isn't anti-angel because of the way that angels work. But ideally, don't really want to be doing too much damage to them. So maybe that's a small blessing in disguise. Level 7 worker cat now. A little bit more meat shielding, thin on the ground there. And I reckon, on the Manic Macho legs, we are going to be at level 8 working out in absolutely no time. We can start the battle off how I actually wanted to. Right, I'm going to let these two, I reckon they will be able to get to the base. I'm going to let them move forward and trigger the boss wave because a Junfish Sones, a Borafim definitely, and a Winged Peach probably, are the sort of things that you're going to want to lure instead of fighting at the base. And in fact, we've actually been pushed back again. So let's bring up a few forces and just send them to the front of the battlefield and save up in the meantime, ready for that wave that has taken several minutes to appear. Right then, Max Bunnies, start meat shielding for the Borafim and get this show on the road. Now, Mega Aphrodite isn't going to help hugely, and Catman's in the wrong form to deal with angels. I just have him in floating because that's what works best across most cat fruit stages, which is what this slot's primarily for, as well as just scouting out these levels. And Winged Peach is the sort of thing you want to outrange, so actually, after all that, trying to ascertain more of what's in the level, just wanting to play it for a bit longer, isn't actually going to work. You could argue this has been a waste of time, but you could also argue that it's not. Now that is deep. I'm going to save myself the embarrassment of losing to a annoyingly rapidly attacking Borafim and move over to some unused unwanted slot, and I'm going to transform this into something extraordinary. Right, so this is what I have created. I wanted to do something a little different with this because it being a moment of Serenity, it probably truly is. This is going to be, I imagine, one of my very few moments in the subchapter to express myself through the strategy, and like Sainsbury's used to say, try something new today. So I have got myself 4 meat shields, the reason for that being it's a Borafim and a Winged Peach. They're going to eat through meat shields pretty quickly, and I'm planning, seeming that we can stall at the start, to use a CPU to make things easier in that front. I've got Ramen just to help as another resistant to Angel meat shield. I've also brought a member of the Power Pro Baseball collab because I thought, why not? I really didn't end up using them much at all, and I just hope that it stands at a far enough range to be able to have an effect. Speaking of range, we have Dark Emperor Catdam. He's just there because it's the last thing I put into the strat and thought, there, it's got range, why not? I really don't work well with a run. It works incredibly well for tutorialists, it seems, but that unhappy face is me when I use a run. In the spirit of range, as I discussed before, we've got Jizo's Moving Castle, which can definitely outrange Winged Peach, because I remember strategizing for that before. And I've also brought Chaos Moon, because, I mean, when else can you bring Chaos Moon? It's fantastic. It's gonna stay at a range, and will contribute to the grand effort of this strat, slowing those punks that are trying to kill us. Additionally to that, which might, considering now, mess it up completely, I've got Full Bloom Kenshin. The reason for that is Full Bloom Kenshin, although quite an obscure Uber, is actually pretty fantastic. Its Angel knockback is better than Dioramis's, I'd say, and it's really good at what it does. And I think it's got enough range, hopefully. I can't fact check any of this because I'm doing it all by myself. The only fact check is playtesting it. But I really like Full Bloom Kenshin, although it may mess up with slow stacking. But if things are slow, they're not going to move back forward towards us as quickly. Especially in floor 26, at least in my experience, of Heavenly Tower. It's an incredibly good safety net cat. So I'm going to take this into the battle with the CPU, and hopefully we'll breeze straight through it. Stalling should also theoretically be easier now that we've got Ramen in-house, unless it melts through these Mr. Angels too quickly. Hopefully what we'll have is just it being resistant but not doing too much damage. Great opportunity to upgrade the Worker Cat and not really have to bother. That is just doing the job perfectly. So just as I say that, I mess it up, and as soon as the Ramen died, Mr. Angels move really quickly. Didn't really account for that. Got a fair bit of damage taken off the base, but if Borafim or Winged Peach connect to the base for even a moment, we're going to be dead anyway, so. Being base struck is not any part of this strategy, so the fact that we've lost a little bit of health probably doesn't matter. Just going to upgrade the Worker Cat to full and do the same thing as we did before, but with hopefully even more success. We're at max bunnies now then. I'm going to send forward a Manica Razor and a couple of Ramens. Actually, not too many of those, because they'll probably just stall the stuff. But then maybe when the boss wave comes out, stalling the Borafim for a little bit might actually be of use. But we're just going to make sure that for all intents and purposes, we have full monies. And then that means when the boss wave comes out, we can whack the CPU on and be safe in the knowledge that I can't do anything else. Okay, we're on guard. Let's get ready for The boss wave, Borfrim, took a little while to get out there, but he's here now. Worry ye not, the big scary boss is here. And now that I've meat shielded a couple of rounds, I think it's high time to help the CPU along, actually, because it's going to end up saving for the stuff that it hasn't got yet. So I'm just going to help it with the meat shielding while it does that, because it will ignore the meat shields, which is a little bit worrying. The CPU, although at times actually frankly far better than I am, can at times also be a little bit dense. Its AI, much like iCat's, is quite bad. But I must say, it looks, at least so far, like Springtime Kenshin's knockback, combined with the slowing, is doing a brilliant job. But equally, I see a reason now why knockback might not be such a great idea, and that's the Junfish zones. Why didn't I think of that? That might be a little issue, because if we knock stuff back into its range, we're in trouble. Also trouble, Calamaria. Like Calamaria from Cuphead, or both of them, very annoying. But with 4 meat shields, I think we're best equipped to deal with it. It's got a single attack, I remember that, but as soon as it attacks something that you value highly with its single attack, like your Ubers, it's dead in a flash. Calamari is not my favourite. I definitely think the knockback was needed though. I mean, these things melt through my stuff, even despite all the slow and the resistance from Ramen. I think I'm actually going to turn CPU off because it's just not very good. And I envisaged there being Mr. Angels constantly, so I thought, oh, we'll have a steady supply of monies. It's fine. We see Borfrim being slowed. Nice effect there, keeping us in safety for a little bit longer. But it actually turns out that monies are going to be very difficult resource to come by. And out of all that, we never actually got Jizo's moving castle out. So that's a bit of a meme. Everything's still alive on their front, and everything's dead on my front. CPU, I trusted you. The strangers are actually doing me a bit of a service, weakening my ramen. It's just making installing an easier job, he says, with loads of health taken off his base. But we'll ignore that for the moment. Just like to thank the Mr. Angels. Although the rest of the level seems resolutely more challenging than them, they are a nice moment of serenity. One ramen bravely on the base releases the boss wave. And I'm going to start a little bit of slow meat shielding and now some faster meat shielding. The other stuff is here. And this time I'm going to get Jizo's moving castle out myself and Chaos Moon, and then I'll let the CPU take charge. Just to make sure that we have the damage in force. And oh, that was a glorious cacophony of colour. Oh, we got a little bit of a knockback on Borfrim from the Baseball Power Pro character. Now, what I saw before was one getting knocked back and killed. I don't know if that's a range issue or if stuff moved forward. I guess that's something we'll find out. Let's have a look at what Winged Peach does. No, I think we've... No, actually, no, I think Winged Peach does hit it. Can't be entirely sure, though. As we know, I am always wrong. But I think now I'll take over from the CPU and just not use the Power Pro one just in case, because I think, yeah, it is being hit. Is that the Borfrim dead? I think that's the Borfrim dead. That's the power of your Jizo's moving castle for you. You see, when you do actually spawn it, things do get a million miles better. Let's bring out Cat Dam as well. Hopefully that won't be outranged by anything in particular. Gotta be worried about Junfish zones. It's got quite a long range, I know that for a fact. It's just caught Chaos Moon out there. And the combination of Calamari, Winged Peach, and Junfish zones, no idea what outranges that or what doesn't. But we don't have to worry about Winged Peach anymore. That's dead. So we just got Calamaria and Junfish zones left. Jizo's moving castle working absolute wonders, it seems. So I'm just going to whack the cat cannon out a bit, freeze these for a little bit, hopefully, and we can just get a bit of damage on them, kill them, and be bish bash bosh done with it. We got a little bit of a knockback on Junfish zones from Springtime Kenshin, and it also finishes off Calamaria. I rest my flipping case. Springtime Kenshin is actually, I love it so much. It's so good. I'm going to go a knockback from the Power Pro Baseball character on Junfish Zone, so I guess although it was seemingly outranged, it's still been of use. Moment of Serenity, I'll go for that. This has been really quite fine. Bam! Oh, we got a meteorite and gold from that. That's good. Two materials that I would definitely like to see more of in levels rather than coal, bricks and feathers. We're going to make our way serenely, like Moment of Serenity, through the subchapter. It will be all by myself. I will do it without any outside help or influence or stats and stuff like that. I'm gonna get through this and I'm gonna do myself proud. and I'm probably going to do no one else proud because literally no one's impressed by what I'm doing. For your enjoyment in the dying moments of the video, my enhanced base has now been upgraded to level 20, loads of health for me to lose due to my terrible timings. And on that thought, I think I will leave you. More Stories of Legend to come, of course. We will be finishing off the chapter in due course. So, please subscribe if you'd like to. We're trying to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and any subscription towards that would be massively appreciated. I bid you goodbye, and I hope you enjoyed.